going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So Michigan State basketball opens conference play for the 2024-2025 season on Wednesday night, 8:30 at the Barn in Minnesota against the Golden Gophers. These two early season Big Ten games in December before you go on like a 3-game and 21-day something, stretch here around the holidays is always a big deal. And these two games are always highly contested and will be no different this week. Tom Izzo said just as much in his, post-practice, media availability earlier this week leading up to this Minnesota matchup. We saw last year 0-2 in these games. You want to get out to a good, fast start, even though it is only 2 games. Getting out to a good 2-0 start to conference play will be big come January when the rest of the schedule is conference play for your final 18 regular season conference games. But we're going to talk about the matchup here a little bit. If you could, though, hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Michigan State basketball content on the channel. We are currently working on, got it pretty much all the way together. Probably will be recording it at the end of this week. A full season breakdown for Michigan State football, what went wrong, what went right, and then some stuff to look forward to for the future. Today, when you are seeing this on Wednesday morning, it is signing day. So hopefully Michigan State was able to sign everyone that they had verbally committed to the class and, maybe flipped a few people. They were already able to flip 1 or 2 guys. But we'll have a video talking about that as well. We'll also be back with a recap for this one. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video. So let's just jump into the Golden Gophers. 6-3 on the year. Losses to North Texas, Wichita State, and Wake Forest in the ESPN Invitational event over Thanksgiving, those last 2. Barely squeaked by Central Michigan as well, 68-65. Similar to last year, led by Dawson Garcia, averaging 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 50% from the field, 42% from 3, 81% from the free throw line. Incredible splits. He was an incredible player last year, was the focal point in all 3 matchups against Michigan State last year, and he was their best player last year, is their best player again this year. So definitely got to hone in on him. Be curious to see who grabs that matchup this year. I know last year was Malik Hall. This year, we've kind of, I don't really like Jackson Kohler on him because, Dawson Garcia can, float around the perimeter as well as we see by his 42% from 3-point range this year. So I'm curious who goes there. If we see maybe a little bit of Cohen Carr, if we see even smaller, small ball with maybe a Frankie Fiddler at the 4 or, more of Cohen Carr there. I don't know. So I'm curious what they do to attack him on defense. I know I'm going to pronounce this guy's first name wrong, but Luke Patterson averaging about 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Isaac Asuma has made 11 threes on the season, about 41% from the 3-point line. Brendan Rigsby, 10 3-pointers, only 24% though, but is getting them up there. Might be higher than MSU's season average though, the 24%, and it is still only 22%, I believe, on the year for Michigan State. But that's kind of the gist of some of the players there. Overall, not a great rebounding team, about 35 rebounds a game. They pass the ball and move it around fairly well, though, about 16 assists a game. Mike Mitchell Jr., 12 assists a game through 2 games. I think Tom Izzo said he expects him to play, but he has missed, obviously, a handful of games. 9 games into the season, has only played 2, but, stirs the drink well for them, passes it really well for them when he is on the court. 29% as a team from 3-point range. Bart Torvik has them as the number 97 team per their metrics. 173rd adjusted efficiency offense team. 58th adjusted efficiency defense. They can defend pretty decently so far here early part of the season. 362nd though in the country in adjusted tempo. Also, one last player for Minnesota to mention, Parker Fox. If you remember last year at Minnesota, specifically remember, he kind of came out on fire for them. Finished the game with 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 4 from the field in 19 minutes. And then again, in the Big Ten tournament, had 11 points on 4 for 5 shooting there in the Big Ten tournament. So curious if he's kind of a sleeper guy for Minnesota as well that Michigan State will have to keep an eye on. For Michigan State, sounds like Jace Richardson is good to go and, is back practicing. starting and, should be able to play in this game. Curious if there's any minutes restriction there, kind of work him back in after he missed that North Carolina game last Wednesday. Well, let's see the small ball, book at the 5, continue against a team that usually plays smaller. Only one true center on the roster for Minnesota. So I would like to see, we already kind of mentioned, maybe some of the matchup problems with Dawson Garcia. Who's going to defend him at the 4, 5, if he can possibly play some small ball 5? Is that mean Book on there? Are they just running 5 out? I guess that we'll have to see how Michigan State attacks that, how Minnesota tries to attack Michigan State on that end. So, but would love to see the small ball. We saw that's been their best lineup all year long, and especially during that Maui 2-1 run last week during Thanksgiving. So would like to see more of that going forward, starting in this game. Shooting in a weird gym again. The barn is a weird gym to play in, tough place to play, overall with the weird gym. But, we saw some gradual improvement. We saw some shots actually go in, but they're still getting up a lot of 3-point shots. In the games in Maui, you saw a few go in, 22% overall still on the year, but curious if that continues or we can start. I know Izzo said that they're shooting it really well in practice, so curious if that starts to translate during the game. But anyway, would also just like to see, there's going to be moments in this game to, will Jaden Akins be that guy to step up? We talked about really early on in the season, the first game of the season when Michigan State was missing 3-point shots again, and things were kind of rocky for Michigan State, and we saw Jaden clapping for the ball, get the ball, go to the basket. We saw that some in the Maui tournament as well, especially after that loss on Wednesday against North Carolina. We saw him being uber aggressive, going to the basket, kind of just making plays. We've seen Jace Richardson do that as well, but curious if Jaden will continue to step up. I still think Izzo still thinks that he is going to be the go-to guy on this team. So first Big Ten game of the season. Want to get out to a fast start. Don't want to get behind the 8 ball in conference play. I'm looking for senior Jaden Akins to step up in these moments of flux. Because Big Ten Conference, there's no such thing as an easy game. So there will be moments, there will be opportunities. I'm looking forward to seeing Jaden Akins step up in those moments. But closing it out here, Bart Torvik has this as a 63-61 Michigan State win. Here, I would like to see that a little more. I mean, we're going to be honest with ourselves here. Minnesota is probably a bottom third Big Ten team. I would like to think that Michigan State is floating kind of in between. If you're breaking it down into thirds, probably floating towards the top of the second tier of the Big Ten, towards the bottom of the first tier Big Ten, at least as of right now. Still very early in the season, obviously, for both of these teams. But, I would like to see a little bit more comfortable win than that for Michigan State. But anyway, either way, we will be back to recap this game after the game, and we'll be back with more Michigan State basketball content on the channel. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.